episode of the Corrective Culture podcast. Sitting here with me is himself, Callan. How you going, buddy?
Holla. I love that intro song, hey. It's only the third time I've heard it. So it's not old for me yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've a little bit of gap between the last one, but we've been busy. So it hasn't been a priority, but we're going to try and make it a priority.
Yeah, I think we're going to start doing them every, bi-weekly, at least weekly or every second week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll try and do it weekly.
Yeah.
But life comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of stuff's changed. Jake's got a new dog. It's my dog too, sort of.
I'm a father now.
That's huge, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was one of them things that were just really like fearful for me. It's like you get this thing that can take your freedom away. What is freedom really? Mm. But I got this dog and I was just worried that it was going to take my freedom, and it did that. But but at the same time, it shows you so much about yourself that you think is your freedom when it's not.
Yeah.
So it's like I have this thing to care for now, and it's no joke, eh? It's pretty full on.
Yeah. Well, freedom's just a mindset.
Yeah.
I remember what your dad said that time. So it's just a mindset, hey.
It's totally just a mindset. Yeah, I feel, but it does take some adjusting, definitely. But it really showed me where I was being selfish. Especially the first day I got it, I didn't sleep at all, and I had all this like anxiety about that, and I was like, man, I got to take this thing back.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to take the dog back for the first like week.
And it's $5,000 this puppy. It's a little Gucci bag basically.
Yeah, it's a Versace handbag.
It's a Versace pup. The tan thing. It's a Hungarian Vizsla, by the way. Cool dog.
Coolest dog.
One of the fastest dogs in the world, apparently.
Yeah,
Web feet.
next to the greyhound.
And he's just perfect though. Like when for a puppy that you want, this thing, man, just so it's like old wise already. It just sits there, sits in the gym when we train people, doesn't annoy you. Like a couple nights there it was barking, but he did it all. You did it all perfectly. Like watching Robert Cabral videos for dog training. And this dog's still to this day, how old is it now?
12 weeks.
12 weeks. It's only eaten spring water and organic meat. It eats the same food we do, like organic sausages, no dried food, no dried shit.
Well, I remember Donald Carr, he had a Bernese mountain dog, I think, and him and Kathy would feed their dog just organic food, man, and like good quality water. And I remember thinking at the time, and their dog lived so long, it was like 18 or something. And they're like, yeah, like it's a dog. Like, why would we feed it shit food just because it's a dog? And I was like, that's so true. Like, when I get a dog, I'm gonna figure out its primal diet, and I'm gonna feed it that.
It's a wolf, yeah. And people forget that all dogs, I think 40,000 years ago, came from a grey wolf. Here he is right now. Should we get up in front of the camera real quick? Can I get him up?
Yeah.
He's at our feet, and he's gonna probably chew all the shit up.
Chew all the shit up. Yeah.
Hey buddy. And that's what a Hungarian Vizsla looks like.
Come here, buddy.
And he's the man. But yeah, organic food, organic meat, and whoa, yeah, nearly jumped off. But if you just think about it, how simple is that? My friend took his Roddy to a holistic vet, whatever that means, right? Recently. And the guy had dried food in the drawer, and this was meant to be the best dried food, whatever. And he goes, man, look at that. And he's like, that's been there for 6 months. He goes, it looks exactly the same as when I bought it. He goes, you want to feed that to your dog?
Yeah.
And my dad's dogs, my dad never had money, right? It was on the dole my whole life, but he still bought grass-fed rump for himself and the dogs. He bought a big chunk of it, and he'd shave off his dinner and shave off the dog's dinner. And they were having tap water, but he was having tap water too. He wasn't that far ahead. Yeah. But grass-fed rump, and he told me when I was a kid, he's like, they're just wolves, and he just fed them the same food that he ate, and they lived till 18 too. Yeah, 18, a long time.
That's sick. And seeing their digestion elimination is insane. Like he had Bickies one night by accident. He just like ate my girlfriend's dog's food, and the next morning he just blasted diarrhea everywhere.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's such a good thing. Like you don't.
Yeah, it's and it's like cancer for dogs. Like people feel like it's just an accident. Yeah, like cancer is just an accident all the time. And then how I got someone I know that the dog got cancer and died, and they were feeding it like lollies and shit. You know what I mean? Like, because, oh yeah, cute, here, have some of this. And then they've got another dog and doing the exact same thing, but there's no connection there that they've placed him with, oh, what am I feeding this dog? Why did that dog get cancer? Yeah. And what can I change for the next one?
Yeah.
Pretty well learning experience, which is the pain teacher that we always go back to. Remember what you said the other day? What did you say when you were like, oh, coffee, let's go into that, how you stopped coffee recently.
Yeah. And
what you said to me was like, man, he goes, I felt I was burning out a little bit. Oh, what'd you say? And then it was like,
I said I felt like I was burning out a little bit, feeling really edgy and feeling inflamed and feeling like waking up in the morning and feeling tired. And I know my adrenals are.
He's over there. He's all
right.
Yeah.
I felt like my adrenals are burning out, and I felt like my cortisol levels are really high and just stressed and snapping at little things that I usually don't. And I felt like this a couple of times before, and I know it's because of caffeine. And even though I've got a hold of my caffeine, I have, how much do I sound like an addict?
Yeah.
It's not a problem. We make bulletproof coffees, and I drink coffee as healthy as I feel like I can. But it's still just burning out my receptors in my brain. I can feel it. So the other day, lost my train of thought.
You were like, but how's this? Like, if some people won't even realize that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and they'll do it for 10 years and get cancer. He goes, if I just stayed the same way, stressing about this shit for 10 years, and I get cancer, and then I say, poor me. Yeah. And then go to the doctor, and just vicious fucking cycle.
Vicious cycle, yeah. So syndrome X, and that's what it was for me. Is like, okay, if I had no knowledge of quitting coffee right now, I would just go to the doctor and think that I'm getting tired or getting sick or getting like, oh, something's different, I'm feeling shit. And not, if I hadn't connected the two, I'd, 1 or 2 years later, then syndrome X comes, and that's like an autoimmune disease. The immune system wants to shut down, or cancer comes, or some kind of slap from the universe to wake you up.
And it's cool that for you to know it's coffee is you stopped it for one day, and the next day you're like, I feel so much better.
Yeah, instantly.
I feel so much better. Instantly. So I'm currently doing every month, by the way, 4 to 6 weeks. So you got adenosine receptors, and pretty well when you have caffeine, they get depleted. And I'm not too scientific into this, but I know that caffeine depletes them, which is all right, but you need a reset. Just think like this. You can't have something every single day. I was thinking about this driving the other day. Unless it's water. Water's the only thing you can have every single day. Yeah. Not even spinach, chicken, beef, whatever. You can't have that shit every single day. You need a break, seasonal break, natural break with everything. So for me, and there's all these studies how coffee saves this. Even Ben Greenfield, people we like admire, says, it's all good, rah. But me internally, I feel like, man, I can't be having caffeine. That does this, changes my feeling. When if you have two of them, you get anxiety. You know what I mean? And then people, they will just go on and go on and go on, and that anxiety will change their decision making in life. Right? It might be, I won't go out to dinner with these friends tonight because I'm just, lunch, say, because it's the middle of the day, unless you're having coffee at night, which fucking people do, right? Yeah. But lunch with these people today because I'm just feeling a little bit anxious. I just feel like staying inside my own little den, right? Yeah. And then that lunch could have been some opportunity could pop up, right? Yeah. Anything, a conversation could change your whole life. You might meet someone. There could be someone at that place where it could be a business opportunity, whatever, change your whole life. But because the anxiety from the coffee made you live a little more in fear, it will change your whole reality.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Which is, it's and that's just fucking a drink.
Yeah, that's how I feel with coffee too. It's the one thing that really like holds me back.
Yeah. So to reset yourself, it's 7 to 10 day break. About once a month, and you can go decaf. When they recommend it, they say just go decaf. For me, I feel like just have a break, because if you go on decaf, it means you're still having probably the other stuff, the nut milk and the milk and that with it. When instead you can replace it with a green juice or a bone broth, where you're getting a bit more nutrients, more nutrient density. Yeah, and you feel good. Like so, I haven't had it. I'm doing it. I started a gallbladder flush today, by the way. It's on Helen Paradon. Check her out. She's on Instagram. She's one of Australia's leading naturopaths. And she's just genuine. Like when I want to listen to people, I need to make sure they're living it.
Yeah, so she's awesome.
Otherwise, if they're not living it, then I don't want to go to a physio with a fuck posture. You know what I mean? Exactly. Or a fat doctor. Yeah. So she looks healthy, right? Yeah. But I also know clinically, I've heard of a lot of good stories and people get rehabbing their guts and that through her work. And it's the same stuff. It's the basics. Cut out the seed oils, stress, chew your water and drink your food. So that's one of the biggest tips too, if you're listening, you got any sort of digestive problems. But even if you don't have a digestive problem, just getting more out of your food, right? So you're actually getting more nutrients from your food is chew your food to a liquid consistency, because you got digestive enzymes in your saliva. So when you chew it, it means you're getting more surface area of that food, that mixing with the enzymes, so that when it hits the gut recognizes, oh yeah, if this person's chewed this, they're meant to be eating it. Let's deal with it, you know, and it's already broken down, so the gut doesn't have to break it down, and this whole leaky gut thing going on. So if you can just pretty well, the digestive system starts when you think about the food, because automatically you see it, your stomach starts secreting the enzymes, then it hits your mouth, you chew it to a liquid consistency. And if you do that too, you're being more present with the food, you're taking your time, you're not engulfing it, and then you swallow it. And then that's just a little tip right there.
Yeah.
And I've heard of people just curing their problems, bloating and that, just from chewing their food.
Yeah.
And I know myself, you know, especially if I smoke a joint and you put some mean ass dish like you made the other night. Jake made a brisket curry, like curry made from smoked brisket. It was insane. It was really good. And super unorthodox, never had it before, but that was yum, right? And I caught myself just going boom, boom. Like my first two mouthfuls, I just like jammed it in there. Basically ate the fork too. And then I caught myself. I was like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? And just stopped, put my plate, like my fork down, and just went. And just one deep breath, right? And you can do Tai Chi circles, big like breathing circles, but just something like that to bring yourself, think about where the food came from. And then it's almost a bit more magical too. It's nice, right? And if it's magical in my own mind, then that's my reality. So that's my truth. So whatever. And it just feels good. And then I was like, in my head, I'm like, yes, like think about all what happened to get this food on the plate. Like the stars shine, the sunshine on the plant ate that, you know, water fell down. That water could have came from some mountaintop in the Himalayas. I'm going to hope mine did, you know? And then it just like, and that became part of me, and that made my material. Yeah. And then made my vessel so I can transport through this life. Yeah. The best functional possible.
So many left turns you took to get to that moment. Yeah. And then everything has to lead up to that. So I feel like nothing happens by chance, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's pre-written for us or something like that, I'm not sure. But it's interesting to think that every little red light or everything that you've missed or done has got you to this very moment, and everything is right now.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah.
It's all perfect.
Yeah.
Like we said I'm not sure we said on the potty or not, we sort of, they're so far apart, I forget what we talk about, but it's like, what did I say the other day? If you didn't, pretty well, almost like we could go all the way back to if your mum didn't get sick. Yeah. My friends wouldn't be eating organic food, or I wouldn't be eating organic food, or, you know what I mean? Exactly. It's just this big cycle where it's like, wow, that's how the world changed. And that's how we just helped thousands of people's lives from like, you know, doing little things. And then if your mum didn't get sick and you didn't eat organic food, and someone listening to this right now might say, oh, I'm going to go, this week I'm going to change from tap water to spring water, right? Or buy like spray-free celery instead of this celery. And then they do that, then they change their life, and then they have kids, and then it spreads like exponential growth. Yeah. And there's the world changing. Yeah,
it's crazy. And you can even think like, you know, in the universe, like how many ancestors took that turn and sat at that red light on their horse. Choices. Yeah. And that's how many choices it took.
And that's how like Paul talks about if you want to jump out of your child archetype, which is what the life will grow so much if you do that shit, right? And it's a work in progress. But when you say I need to, or I got to do this, or I got to do that, instead of changing your words to I choose to. Yeah. And that's a choice.
That's sick, man. Let's talk about that. How you know, if I don't text you or you don't text me for a day or two, you know, it's never something personal. It could be, and that's the same with anyone, but I know with family and things like that, if you don't hold up this like, oh, he's off me or something like that, you know, how it's not really conditional, it's more conditional loving.
Well, yeah, and that's because of the phone, hey? Yeah. The technology in the phone, right? Like in human interaction, that she doesn't exist, but now we've got this whole other side of communication that's like represents us. Yeah. Which is like you said, like, so like say if Jake texts me and I just didn't text back, not because of rudeness, just because I was doing something or I just, whatever, you know, he won't see that as, oh, he didn't write back, I don't feel loved.
Yeah.
and this can happen to anyone on their own scale. Or someone did
Yeah.
to me, like I don't feel loved.
Yeah.
It comes back down to that own, which Wayne Dyer,
Yeah.
like, which
no one
is
can make you feel a certain way inside yourself.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't ever give someone the power to say, whatever they do, it changes the way I feel.
Yeah.
So what you think of me is what more important than what I think of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's a perfect way to word it.
Yeah. So it's like if I don't write back to you, he's not going to think, oh, Callan's off me or something for no reason.
Yeah.
People will do that shit for there's been nothing that's happened.
Yeah.
And like, oh, he's off me, you know. And then it's just like,
yeah.
and it's like it's when you think like that, when no one can hurt you, especially through the phone.
Yeah.
It's freedom, like you said. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
Because it is a mindset.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you think it, then that's your reality. If you don't think it, it's not your reality. It's like whatever you say. But
yeah. Well, things come up for me like that all the time, and I always think, oh, maybe they're off me, or maybe this is the way, and then I go, you know, there's my mind racing again, and it starts to paint this picture that's could be true, could be not true, and to be honest, 99% of the time it's never true.
Yeah.
And that's my insecurities, my fear of abandonment, my fear of being alone. And once you really start to realize that everyone's so individual and they all got their own stuff going on, you can really take a step back and love yourself and be like, you know, they're just doing their thing, and you just got to do your thing and not be offended by anything.
It's the child archetype.
Yeah, exactly.
Out, yeah, step out of that child, and I'm my own man, I'm my own woman, I'm an adult, and this person is their own. You know, it doesn't that won't affect me. That's spot on. And like you said, it's witnessing it, because I get it and I feel it, but as long as you witness it real quick, it disempowers it.
It's the same as jealousy. It's the same thing as jealousy. I don't know if you've ever felt any jealousy, but I had a big thing with jealousy, and I had to do a lot of inner work with Joe Dispenza's meditations and stuff to see that always come up. And now I see it. It pops up all the time, but I see it and I go, oh, there it is again.
Yeah.
What's that about?
The awareness.
Yeah, the awareness of it is what makes it dissipate. And it's like so freeing when you don't let that ruin your day. These little things, it's about learning all these little things and all these little habits that you have, not let it ruin your day.
Yeah. And like you said, if it ruins your day, it brings you out of the present moment.
Yeah.
And then it takes your awareness out of the present moment, and then your decisions for the rest of the day aren't optimal.
Yeah.
And then your life isn't going to be optimal, and you're not going to be where you want to be. So it's this vicious, it's so simple in the end, eh? It's your mind's a big game.
It is.
And you just got to keep catching it fucking up.
It's the little maze runner.
Yeah, and the more you catch it fucking up, it starts to like, oh, there's that again, there's it again. And it doesn't even do it after a while, you know?
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool, hey?
It's great. It's great when you work on yourself like that. You see it in a lot of other people, because when you work on yourself, you see that injury in other people, and you can help them with that.
Yeah. Yeah, you see it. You see it in a lot of people. You see it
very clearly.
And you call it and you call it out in your clients, hey?
Yeah.
I remember you were saying, Jan, we'll get her on the potty. We've spoken about this. This is this amazing woman, right? But Jan, how you said there was a girl that come in, and how Paul talks about it, the skill is finding the story that they're telling themselves that they're not telling the world.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone's telling themselves this story, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not this.
Yeah.
But then they're not always saying it out to the world, but you can see it in them. Like you see enough of these people, you start to see where they're at. And then you were saying a girl came in and was like, Jan pretty well stopped her and was like, listen, like, I'm not going to let you tell yourself this story.
Yeah.
It's just a story. Like, it's not.
Stop the story. Yeah.
Like I said, our reality is just the story we tell. So make your story more beneficial to your life. Otherwise, it's just going to stay exactly where it is.
So massive on that kind of stuff. And it would even stop me, because we all get caught in our story. We want to tell our story a lot. And she'd always pull you up on that. And all of her clients just be like, hey, what, like, that, does that serve you?
Yeah.
She's done a lot of inner work.
And since that, I've done it with my clients before. There was one where this person felt unloved from me. Again, child archetype, feeling unloved, like they needed my love, and straight away over something that, again, it was something I did that was in no intention towards them, and it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't bad, but like they felt unloved because they put their energy. I put my energy towards someone else at this one time, and I called them out on it straight away. I was like, oh, like, what is that? You know, is that your reality? Is that what you're thinking? Because that wasn't in my reality, and if that wasn't in mine, then there's no ill intention towards you, but you're still feeling this. Yeah. And yeah, it worked. Yeah, it worked, and it was pretty profound for the person too.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's the mirror.
Yeah.
It's the mirror. And when I did HRC2 with Paul, that was the biggest thing I took out of it, was that he showed me the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah. and it's confronting. But it's so confronting because you don't want to see it, and you find yourself trying to like make excuses for yourself, and as soon as you're offended by anything or anyone, you've lost. Because you're on the level of mind. And I've been there so many times where I've been like, fuck this guy or fuck her, like whatever, using anger. And I just want to relish in that anger just for a day, just like, fuck, and I think of all the things go around and like, all that shit. I've got that in me.
The vengeance.
I'm hot-headed. I've got that in me. And then the next day I wake up and I go, what the fuck was that about? Why didn't I handle that with love? And I go, you know what, forgive that person and send them love, and then I'm free. And I just go to the beach, I have a swim, and I go, what was I thinking?
Yeah, it's your own inner peace.
It's just like this. You give your anger. As soon as you feel an anger, it's all in you. It's not in them.
Yeah,
they're not feeling your anger. You're feeling your anger.
Drinking poison, expecting the other person to die.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just like,
what does Wayne Dyer said? He says, you don't die from a snake bite. You die from the poison.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen to Wayne Dyer. If like, there's a few people we didn't plan on it, but I think we're just going to start dropping in little videos into our podcasts of people we listen to, but things that helped us along the journey and that I found that are profound to us. And we got one.
Yeah. Let's play it now.
It sort of lines up perfectly for it, doesn't it? Actually, we're talking about inner work and things like that.
Definitely.
So there's Gabor Mate. It's called Advice to Your Younger Self if you want to look it up on YouTube, but we're going to play it now. And I really found it personally is powerful. Jake showed it to me a while ago, and I don't think he know how powerful it was, but I was like, whoa, that's
this is insane.
Makes you feel invincible.
This guy's a man. He's all about anti-addiction stuff, and he's got a really good book called In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts. I've listened to it on audiobook, and it's amazing. Highly recommend. Yeah. So we'll play this now.
A call to the 20-year-old Gabor and give that young man a bit of advice. What would you tell him? Where was he? Getting his medical degree.
No, he wasn't. He was, at that time, his ADD was too powerful. He couldn't go to medical school yet.
Really?
Because that took more concentration and discipline than I was ready for. I didn't go to medical school till I was 28. So what do I say to a 20-year-old? Look inside. At that time, I was going to save the world through politics. Not to ignore the politics, but pay at least as much attention internally or more than you're casting on the outside. And you don't have to work so hard to be liked and loved. You're okay. Just relax, kid, and allow life to come to you. You don't have to force it. And open your heart. Don't just focus on your clever brain so much. Open your heart and see what possibilities reveal themselves to you. And that it's not your fault. The way the world is, and even the way you are, it's not your fault. It's not a fault. Just accept yourself. Thanks for the opportunity to tell me myself that, by the way.
Welcome.
Would love to get that 20-year-old on the phone.
Yeah, maybe I'm starting the healing process that'll continue in Peru. That's some good advice. On that same note, what is the best advice you've ever received in your life from a colleague, a coworker, a quote-unquote addict, anyone? Something that stood out for you?
I'll tell you two things. One is I had an aunt who was a physician herself, and she had not wanted to be a doctor, she wanted to be a writer, but complying with her father's wishes, she went to medical school. And she was taken to Auschwitz, where she saw her parents taken in one direction, to the gas chambers, and she was sent in another. And very sensitive, very wounded soul. But she saw me much more clearly when I was young than I could see myself. And once she quoted Shakespeare to me, and I know it's a cliche, and I know that it's in the mouth of the character Polonius, in whom Shakespeare puts this phrase, It's even hypocrisy, but it's so true. And she said to me, she wrote to me, to thine own self be true. You know, I wish I had understood what that meant, but that's the best advice I got. And then when I was a physician, and but the part of me that wanted to write hadn't really expressed himself, because that was really in me to write and to share something with the world. And I had a patient who used to be an English professor at the University of British Columbia. He was quite a well-known Canadian poet, Warren Tallman. And I said to him when he came to the office once for a medical visit, I said, Warren, I want to write, but I don't know what. And he said, don't worry about it. He said, don't worry about it. He said, you will write when you have something to teach the world. And that's what happened. So those were the two, when you ask that question, those two incidents are evoked for me.
They're both very good.
Yeah.
Last part of that is to that 20-year-old that's out there listening to us right now.
Yeah.
You know, who wants to grow up and do some good in the world,
Yeah.
to maybe help advance some of these thoughts and agendas and things like that. What advice do you give to them?
I'm not sure I understand your question now.
To that 20-year-old that's listening to us.
Yeah. Not myself now.
Yeah, not yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And someone that wants to, I don't know, get out there and make some of these changes we're talking about, to try to open up the world's eyes when it comes to the war on drugs, the way we consider addiction, the way we look at addicts, the way we look at our own behavior, and they want to make a difference in the world. Yeah. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah. Well, I would say that there's a lot of people out there who see the truth, but they don't control the media, and they don't write the scripts for most movies. So therefore, you might not get validation out there, but you have to believe in your own truth. And you have to deepen your relationship to your truth. And you'll connect with people that are also seeking the same truth as you are, even if they don't see it the way you do. So never be afraid of your own truth, and to explore it. Also, don't be afraid to let go of it if you find that there's a deeper truth that speaks to you. And at the same time, whatever you do out there in the world, do an equal amount of work internally. Because if you don't, your work in the world will not be as effective.
Continue watching this fascinating conversation.
Yeah, sick.
That's man, I love that. Hey, I've listened to that so many times, and I pick up something different from it all the time. Something that's so small but profound.
Yeah, I think the thing that resonates with me heaps is I've been really afraid to let out my soft side my whole life. And just lately in the last year, I've been starting to be who I really am, and like letting my truth come out slowly, like letting it just seep out a little bit. And, you know, being a little bit more artistic and being a little bit more vulnerable, and posting photos of me training, or posting photos of me talking about deep stuff that I actually feel like I want to let love out and be that kind of mushy, soft person, this soft child that I am inside. And I want to let that out to the world and actually let that be judged and be okay with that. That's what that really brung up for me then, was like to let that out, and the people who are going to stay in my life are going to stay, and the people who aren't, who think I've lost it because I'm talking about souls and love and life, are going to leave.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that I've been going through the last year.
You weren't here, but your brother said to me, I think yesterday before the fight, he was like, yeah, Jake's the last year.
Yeah.
He's really come into himself. He's come into himself. I was like, spot on, he has that.
Yeah.
And it's just freedom, a bit more freedom to let it go. And now you got a bit of a platform to do it. Like even us talking on this, man, this is our therapy session.
It feels like it.
Doesn't feel like a podcast. Like we're just chatting, like nothing's ever planned, you know?
Isn't it weird? You don't really need to plan what you want to talk about. It just kind of comes out. Like the soul just lets it out.
When you're in the flow, yeah. What was great for me when I first, what I took away was when he was like, whatever you do in the outside, do as much work internally. And that, you know, your meditation and things like that. And that's so profound, because it was like, I've clinically seen it when I had, you know, I'm not sure if we spoke about this already, but when, say, I was doing so much yang, right? I wasn't even listening to my own advice, right? So much wasn't countering my yin to yang. So I was doing so much yang with work, like taking on clients, multiple clients, same old shit, L5S1 disc bulge, rah. And then I had a couple of people that they didn't get better as quick as, and in my head, I feel like heal anyone, you know what I mean? Like feel like when you got the right tools and people listen,
For
you
sure.
can heal anything. And then all of a sudden, these two weren't really getting healed as fast as I wanted, right? And I'm being hard because it's like disc bulge takes months, and they've done like a year of physio and all this stuff and didn't work. But I wanted me to be out, like I can fix everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
and I realized I was rushing everything outside, and I was also rushing the work. I didn't give those two people the best possible program I could have given them because I was yang, and I was getting it done, you know?
Yeah.
And it was me getting sick, which when we said we had a bath, I had a bath. We had a bath. I had a bath in your bath though, and and it was like a forced meditation for me because it was 20 minutes, no phone, nothing, right? And I'd had a couple. I had 5 baths over 5 days, right? And the first couple I had guided meditations going. And the last couple I just had nothing but my breath, and it was when you meditate, that's when you're actually watching your brain. You know what I mean? When you're actually thinking. When you're not, your brain's doing all this shit at once, but really that's a zombie state, okay? So I was watching my thoughts, and my thoughts, all of a sudden, programs came into my head, writing programs. And I realized I missed something in my assessment with them. Not in my assessment, but in the way I analyzed the assessment. And then I wrote these 2 people programs without a pen and paper in my head in the bathtub, gave it to them the next week, mixed it up, because there's a trial and error. You might have 10 people with L5S1 disc bulge. You don't give them the same shit. You know what I mean? There's little similarities, but you got to, everyone's different.
Yeah.
And then they both got fixed within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Both their pain went away because I got sick and I stopped and went internal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have said, "Oh, you can't be fixed, mate. It's going to take a while." The usual shit, you'll be better eventually. Here's a brace. Like that's the whole typical approach.
Yeah.
And also how he finished said when another truth speaks to you highly.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at the moment when I'm like with the check stuff, love it, but I also love everything too. So I'm loving anything that I can piece together into my own art. So I'm getting into functional pattern stuff now, and some of that stuff is really speaking to me, my truth, and it really blends with the check stuff, and they're not countering against each other. But I'm learning things that aren't part of my normal, what I'm meant to do, and integrating it, and it's working.
I love it.
And it's like, and I love that I wasn't rigid in nah, because my book said this, that is that.
Yeah.
I'm going by my feel, and I'm doing it to my own body first.
Sure.
So the only reason why I'm doing this gallbladder flush is because last week I had 2 girls in a row come in with no gallbladder. So I was like, fuck, that's pretty rare, and most of them won't even tell you.
What a great
So
sign.
they had gallstones, and then the doctors just cut out the gallbladder, right?
Yeah.
No holistic approach, no gallbladder flush.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, it's all right. Just we'll get rid of it." They don't even tell them for the rest of their life they're going to have an ox bile and digestive enzymes to break down fat because they don't have bile. So the rest of their life, these girls got to have enzymes and that.
Yeah.
And that's fine, if they got the money to pay for that stuff, and they try the enzymes and it works. They digest food all right, but really they cut out an organ. You know what I mean? And they should have tried another approach.
Yeah.
And there's been plenty of people that have been healed from gallstone,
Yeah.
gall problems basically.
Yeah,
So I'm doing it just to experience it so I can
Yeah.
hand it out to my people, because
That's
it's going to be
awesome.
hard. But it's fun to me,
Yeah.
It's a nice little liver cleanse. I'll save money, you're forced to
Yeah.
eat all these veggies and meat and that. And it's just
sick.
like,
Watching you get excited about it's been
I actually
been
get
awesome.
excited about it.
Yeah, well, it's been sick watching you do that and be on your journey and find your inner truth. And you'd be surprised how much it's actually helped me get out of my own way as well. Seeing you try different approaches and not be afraid to just let you speak your truth. And that's the biggest thing. It's never take that away from anyone. I think that's for kids in school and stuff. They're too sheepy.
Yeah.
You need to let them start to feel how to listen, tap into their heart a bit more, and actually want to go and do things that they want to do.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that's in school and in university. Don't let your
Yeah.
schooling get in the way of your education.
Yeah.
So there's a guy, one of our mates, Casey, he did his MCL recently, about 6 weeks ago actually. And he tore grade 3, or grade 2, but almost grade 3. So pretty well, the guy said it's pretty well snapped. It's like a couple of strands. he straight after the injury, he did it jiu-jitsu. He could run fine and he could jog fine. And then the guy, he went and said, here's a brace. The doc said, you got to wear a brace for 8 weeks. And then within this range of motion, and then after 8 weeks, you can start your rehab, start your physio. And then, I might have spoke about this in the last poddy or not, right? But then I was thinking the same thing, but I go to Jake, because we're all mates together. I go to Jake, what do you reckon? And then Jake goes to Casey, he's like, oh, like, do you want to have a brace on for 8 weeks? And then I said the same thing to him, funnily, fuck. And then he goes, nah, not really. And he's like, well, don't, like, you can walk and run fine. Does it make sense to you that we're going to brace your leg together? And again, back to evolution, right? Makes sense that we're going to brace your leg, turn off all those muscles, okay? And then so that can hold. And the guy had no nutritional advice and anything for him, just said, let's hold it together, right? So if he had that brace on, he would have been rehabbing his leg for the next 6 months. His whole muscle would have atrophied. His whole leg would have been weak. And then not just that, when one leg wastes away and the other one's strong, it's going to hold tone in it. It's going to pull on the pelvis. It might wear out the other leg, hip, knee, neck, whatever. It's all connected. And he wore the brace for 1 day. He took it off and he goes, it got worse because when he took it off, it felt like everything turned off. So it actually destabilized.
Yeah.
And
5 days it atrophies in, man.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah. And so we put him on Nordic Naturals, a good cod liver oil brand, got him on beef liver capsules, organ meats, through Homegrown Primal as a good little brand. Got no affiliation with them, but I like her stuff. So she's got a good Thrive product and Boost, which is like, one's just all organ meats, heart, liver, spleen, that, and one's just liver. And then got him on lots of collagen. And he was religious, did that shit every day. Yeah. Went back like a week or two ago and went back to that same doctor that told him to wear the brace for 8 weeks and got the MRI done. It's completely healed. Healed. He's back at jiu-jitsu now, right? Yeah. Still got to be, now he's got to start proper rehab. He was doing rehab sort of the whole time. Yeah. But he didn't tell the doctor that he didn't have the thing on the whole time because he was on workers' comp. But the doc thinks, you know what I mean? This same doctor who was apparently the man, the knee specialist man, right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Is a surgeon, right? Yeah. That guy is still giving that advice out to everyone when we're not even almost allowed to tell him that. No. You know what I mean? Because then it's like,
we can't say shit.
Yeah, that it's like, oh, well, this guy, we just gave him some good, hip extension sort of stuff, good clothes chain, knee movements that relates a bit more to running and gait, things like that. Yeah. And food. His thing was all food. Yeah. Right? Giving the body the raw materials to heal, and he healed. Yeah. And that shit's, rare. Most people's knees, they fuck them and then they fuck for life because they're just doing the wrong approach.
For sure, man. I had the same experience with when I broke my leg really bad and they said, have your boot on for 8 weeks. And it was a compound fracture in my leg, and it was off in 2 days. Yeah. I mean, it did have a steel rod in it, but they still wanted the thing in. And they were like, it could heal wrong if you don't have the boot on. And Jan was just like, take the boot off. Yeah. And so I fully, after that, I was like, okay, this is, I'm going to think about this for myself from now on.
Exactly. For yourself. Yeah. That's a good point. And it's about putting your health, and for people listening, your health in your own hands and really listening to your own body. Yeah. And like when he talks about, finding a newer truth. That's what we see a lot of the time with vegans, where they've watched a lot of docos that are well done, and then they've seen something and it makes them feel like this. Yeah. But it's just a mindset, and then you can switch anyway. It's like when I think of death and life, it's almost a beautiful thing to me. And commercial like meat and all that to me is poison when it's a big line of like slaughterhouse, Yeah. But when it's done naturally the way for millions of years, and when you see an animal kill another animal in David Attenborough, you get that same feeling like, fuck, I just want to save that little seal that's getting eaten alive by that polar bear. Yeah. But that's part of it. That's part of it, man. That's the yang energy. That's the darkness. And that's if you can't always just have all light. Yeah. You can't run around and have all light. And that's what I think my view on that is that everything is all one. So the plants and the animals and us and everything is all one. And it's all matter. And the plants, their root system eats carnivorous. They eat all the meat and the microorganisms in the soil, and then the animals eat that. So I just thought to myself one day, I was like, wow, it's ignorant to think that it's separate. Yeah, it's almost like humans haven't evolved past animals. We're still we can think, and we're the most evolved thing,
but we're still animals.
Yeah.
Why do we separate ourselves from everything and everyone, mind you? Like it's like Ram Dass says, you don't see every tree in the jungle judging one another because they're bent. But humans, they judge everyone because they're fat or they're skinny or that one looked cracky. Like, and I'm guilty of it. I do it too, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, you catch yourself doing it, and it still feels good a little bit, doesn't it? Then you
sometimes,
catch it, you catch that.
And then I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? What is that? Why do I judge someone and feel better about myself? That's fucking horrible.
And it doesn't get you anywhere.
No.
Doesn't get you anywhere. But that's that's cool as man. We're also working. I got to bounce soon. I got a client, but
cool.
We're also working on a stretching program, stretching and deep tissue release. Something that I feel like will really help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a bargain compared to what we pay to show you one-on-one to the same sort of thing. Like every one of our clients sort of learn this thing at the start. But more so, the approach I'm going with a lot of people now is deep tissue work to free up all those fascial adhesions, all those in a knot, basically a fascial adhesion. So it's just a contraction that's happened in the muscle in a repetitive motion that's dehydrated the muscle, and then the layers of fascia and muscle get stuck together, and then your body works around it and compensates around that, and your posture might change around that.
Yeah.
If I'm just stretching through that knot, then I'm stretching around the knot. So one muscle, don't think of it as like one thing, but like one part of that muscle could be flaccid and one part could be tight. So when I'm stretching the whole thing, there's still going to be this one little tight bit down there. All right. So our plan is to start people off in some good deep tissue work using lacrosse ball, foam roller, the basics that you need. More so, this is a skill for life. Like when you learn this, that's you for life. When you want to treat your body, and when you say work in to work out, you're yin. If you do a big workout, you watch this video that we're going to put out there, and it's going to be a while, but you're going to watch this video, and then that's your working in, all right? And that will help so many people.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we do a stretching program right after that, once the tissue's sort of freed up a bit and give you a range of motion.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll be in the stretching program too. It'll be very intuitive. So we're going to have an overview of just talk about how you got to stretch one side more than the other to bring yourself back into balance. But there's a handful of stretches that we think will help everyone. We know will help everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be good to give them the power to be intuitive about their stretching. And man, that's it's hard to, we're both maxed out with clients. It's hard to take on any more. There needs to be something like this out there that people can grab and do it themselves in the comfort of their own home.
Yeah. And it's not out there, hey? Like nothing like this will be anyway, where it's just this specific. So it's like, that's why I'm excited for it. Yeah. And I know it can take away a lot of people's pain, man. Like no matter what it is, it'll be the first step anyways. Yeah. Someone would have a full disc bulge, right? So we'll have specific stretches if you've got too much lumbar curve, too little lumbar curve, little indifferences like that. Yep. Also really communicating to your body so you know for the rest of your life what to do. Yeah. But yeah, we'll work on that. And it's work in progress.
We're working on it. Yeah, we're working on it this week. So if you are listening, you want to if there's anything you guys want to hear or you want to see or programs that you think would be cool online, just hit us up on our Instagram at Corrective Culture. And we're doing our best to get back to everyone. But super busy, but it's been sick.
Yeah, and the parasite cleanse is going ham at the moment. A lot of people are doing that, so that's on the website also.
Sick.
And also collagen affiliate that we're using. I found a good grass-fed, grass-finished. It's hard to find that. Yeah. So I did a bit of research, found a good grass-fed, grass-finished collagen and gelatin is what we add to our coffees, our supplements. And it literally increases your skin elasticity. So for all the girls out there, it tightens your skin, which is good, and for wrinkles. And that's Nutraviva collagen, NUTRAVIVA, and Corrective is the discount code. I think you get 10% off. Yeah, something like that. And I make $5 when you buy it. So there's my coffee. But yeah. Sick. But I mean, it's a good one. I was like, it's win-win. I make $5 and you guys get a discount of grass-fed collagen. So like,
and one thing is as Corrective Culture is growing and we're trying to affiliate with brands that we really love, we're going to stay 100% true to who we are, and we're only going to support things that we fully know where they're coming from, and their core values align with ours. So
yeah, we'll never fuck around with that. It'll be shit we believe in, and that we've been taken for years. You know what I mean?
Fuck money at the end of it. It's not about money. It's about spreading love. So It's a little bit of it. No.
We can spread more love with a little bit of money. But yeah. All right, that was a good one. That was off the top. So they always are.
Yeah, thanks for the support, everyone. We'll catch you guys soon.
Thanks. See you later.